Uncanny X-Men, issue number 630. Variant cover. Ooh, look at that. Real cover's over here. This read like a number one issue. It was action-packed. It was... Man, the difference between Ed Brisson and his annual last week and the writing of Matthew Rosenberg is... Brisson is just a haymaker if he was a boxer. If maybe an uppercut. If Matthew Rosenberg was a boxer, jab, jab, jab. Huh? Deke. Boom, big punch, cross. Like that's, if that makes any sense, because he's kind of got a different pace where he'll hit you with kind of information from different ways, and they're both effective ways of writing stories. He wrote a multiple man in the X-Men, and he pays homage to it in this book. Obviously, he wrote the Disassembled. I didn't like the Disassembled series. That's no secret here on my channel, but this was quality stuff, and we'll start from the top of the book. It's all black. It says every X-Men story is the same. They start with a simple idea: we have the right to be happy, we have the right to be safe, we have the right to exist. And straight up, that's what the X-Men are all about. That's my mutant stuff. It says, but then something hits us. And then I realize it's Cyclops talking. And it ends with, this is the last X-Men story. And I didn't know that they had this kind of statue deal outside of Warren Worthington's building. I didn't know that they had a, like it's the Avengers Mansion. Let's open this thing up. It starts with Cyclops stopping some spray painting going on. He spelled mutant wrong. You know, they remind us that he's a good guy. And the second time that they do this is when he's out getting coffee. Some girl's getting attacked. He didn't even know who it is. And he went ahead and beat her up. Beat up the attackers, excuse me. And lo and behold, it was Blindfold. That rhymed. Now he puts the attackers in an inside top wrist lock, showing that he's the baby face and just establishing this is Hero Cyclops. Yeah, he's still that hard ass, and we'll see that later on. He's still that kind of, but he was always just trying to be a civil rights leader, man. He was the Magneto. He was the Malcolm X type guy, fighting for his cause. Now the next mutant who shows up over here is Jamie Madrox. Blindfold leaves. She's blindfold, so she disappears, and then we see Jamie Madrox, and it's explained, and this is really important. It says, "Look, I'm sorry, but they're all gone, Scott. Every mutant I know got killed, locked up, deported, or went underground. So let's figure it out. The mutant who was locked up is definitely Havoc in Astonishing X-Men 17 that Matthew Rosenberg also wrote. That's how it ended. Mutant that got deported could be anyone. It's an international team. Soraya Cotter went underground. Well, we'll see who that is later on. And then every mutant that got killed, shoot, I mean, like, who's coming back from dead? That would be Logan. Yeah, Logan's in this book, by the way. This book is amazing. If you haven't seen it or read it, go ahead and get it. Get it. There's another part of this book where Cyclops was shooting at his beer bottle up into the sky, and he's been doing that for a whole hour. Jamie Madrox tells him, and he's like, "You're lucky the Avengers didn't show up." I read that like, yeah, why didn't the Avengers? Why would you call yourself out on this inconsistent writing or poor writing? That I don't know. Maybe they don't go to Hell's Kitchen where he was doing that at. Yeah. Next place he goes is Midtown Sewers. He sees Callisto. Last I remember seeing Callisto was either in the beginning of Uncanny X-Men #1, during that wedding special. She talked to Kitty Pryde, she's telling him don't hurt Colossus. They had a thing earlier. The next mutant we see is Chamber. Man, Chamber's only on screen for one page. If you didn't know he was British, the lingo in this, he's saying in it. He's saying bollocks and all that shit. Like, okay, I get it. He's British. I got it. British brother. He said something like, he said that you pick a fight with the Avengers, the Inhumans, or anyone, and then your son is out here picking the same fights like he wants. Nothing to do with Scott Summers. And you can understand that, like, everyone is justified in their position in this war. Like, every character in here, I understand where they're coming from. That's fantastic. He shows up at Central Park, Manhattan, where the Xavier Institute was blown up on issue number 3 of Uncanny X-Men, right at the end. And Hisako kind of protected the X-Men. It's a graveyard, it's a construction site. Mutant education and outreach. He laughs at the irony of it. And Jamie Madrox, who he asked to hook him up with the address to Layla to Blindfold, gets him the address to Blindfold. And this strange page over here means a lot. It's all black. It says, "This is forever." It's Blindfold. I wonder what she means by that, man. Wonder what she means. I know what she means by that. Oh, this is kind of self-realization. I'll get to it at the end. Oh, I feel like an idiot. Well, I figured it out, so I can't be that stupid. Next page, we got this politician woman. It's not Lydia Nance from X-Men Gold. Wish it would have been, but it's not. And she's saying, yo, her name is Prestel, Prestel, and she's saying, yo, my opponent, we saw in X-Men Disassembled, who Kitty Pryde saves because she says we save everyone, we're heroes for everyone. My opponent has gone soft, but we're gonna go ahead and make this a safer world. It was Senator Allen, that was the dude's name. In this mutant hate crowd is Cyclops, and he goes ahead and he asks, what do you have to say to the families whose mutant children have been killed by the government? Da, da, da. She goes, look, we got a mutie lover. And a couple people call them mutie lovers. He just hates seeing that. They deck him. I mean, it's Cyclops. When those glasses go down, you better watch your head. Because I-beam goes into the sky. Who's there? Captain America. Why the fuck is Captain America in a mutant hate speech rally? What is he here to do? Is he trying to protect them? These are the questions that these mutants like myself are going to have to ask. Captain America and Scott Summers had a beef during AVX, Avengers vs. X-Men, and it's as if that did happen. I'm complimenting. This was great. It's like the Unity Squad happened. It's like the beef like it pays attention to past books, and I love when a present book can make a book I read in the past even better, because it rewards me for reading comics. Man, I-beam's got nothing on Cap's shield. That's straight from Wakanda. And that's when they have their little talk. I wrote jot notes here. That's what I keep looking at because I don't want to forget anything. This book got so long I just started writing things down on the laptop. Cyclops has a big line. I thought standing up to fascism was something you might understand. And then Captain Rogers hits him back. He goes, in a crowd of younger people surrounded by police snipers, this wasn't an act of protest. It was a suicide attempt. And both of these dudes are fighting each other. And I agree with both of these guys, and they're being their character, and they're still mad at each other. I know it happens on Marvel a lot. There's a lot of civil wars and heroes fighting each other. But this, I'll take. When it makes sense, I can take 35 civil... I don't actually mean that. We go on to where he says, fuck you, Rogers, and tells the cameraman, look, you want a story? Promise to broadcast it unedited. The world needs to see this. And he says, this is Cyclops, leader of the X-Men. If there are any X-Men still out there, now is the time. Our people need you. I need you. In 2 nights' time, I will return to where this all began. Come find me. Now, I didn't know what he meant exactly by where it all began. I mean, Salem Center, it says so over here, and my selective memory forced me to forget that. Like, where is he talking about? It was the Charles Xavier original school in Westchester. It's, well, Salem Center, Westchester. I got it right. Who shows up? Man, it's those uncanny Reavers. Donald Pierce. This is the mechanical guy. If you watched the Logan movie, you remember him. If you're an X-Men nerd and you didn't need this explanation. And then, holy crap, they also showed up. Holy crap, yeah. The motherfucking Purifiers showed up. Holy crap, get it? Next one. Here's my next pun. There's not a pun. They're called the Sapien League. I know they had that woman with the Abigail Brand? No, the girl with the green hair was a leader of them. Lepo. Fuck, I forgot her name. But they're not as popular to me as Purifiers and Reavers are. So these 3 squads show up. He was asking for X-Men and they showed up. And it says to him, what's it like knowing that you failed? Your friends all died. The world doesn't care. And you're going to die all alone. Now, I'm a slow reader, and so this meant a whole lot to me. Because it says in a speech bubble, he ain't alone. Speech bubble with no line. How could it be? The next word we see is snicked. The next thing we see on the top, it's the back of Logan's head. And then we go ahead and see some I-beam. And then we go ahead and see current man Logan. Young man, well, he's not young, but it's Logan. We get Wolverine. Man, isn't that cool when you're a slow reader and you don't look to this side of the page because you're too busy looking at this side of the page and you just block off and you go step by step. Ooh, this book was made for me. Yo, they fight the fucking mutant hated people. And there's Stan's Soapbox from July 1967. Y'all can read that. I don't know if it happens in every book this week. This is the first one I'm reading this week. But, man, if it stands out and there's a reason why we selected this page here, I mean, it's a good read. It's Stan's Soapbox, right? Anyway, it's back to this page. Woo! That's enough. Gotta buy the book. Woo! Give me a moment. I like how Cyclops' beam is entering Wolverine's window. And there's no words, it's just straight up artwork. That's really cool to me. Yeah, the art was great right here, especially this page, bro. Oh, well, they say arg and rah. No real words, but that's really fire. Man, this was great art. Logan, slim. Now that we're all caught up, let's go. We got work to do, to be continued. Man, that book gets a 10 out of 10. Out of 10. There's more book? What? Well, it did cost $7.99. I shouldn't actually say that. I deserved this more book. I'm not going to credit a book that... Well, it was great, so, you know, I don't mind paying $7.99 every week if I get this. But let's continue. The next arc is Wolverine's side of the story. And it begins with him when Cyclops went to that reporter. He's watching from the sky. He's watching Cable watch, and Cable's trying to snipe him, Kid Cable. He goes, I know my memory is not what it used to be, but aren't you supposed to be a little bit older? Cable explains that he saves them, and they're all dead now, you know, give up on the X-Men. Yo, Cable's in like 3 books now with X-Force and this. His timeline is confusing, you know, where he is at what point in time. But I know that X-Force, they said in issue 2, happens after the X-Men disassembled has already happened. So would they be, they're not locked up, they're not dead. Maybe they were deported. No, but Warpath is a Native American. Bam Bam, Boom Boom, excuse me, Bam Bam. Bam Bam. I'm just going to continue with this book over here. So he goes over to Jamie Madrox and Layla Miller. I'm like, oh yeah, Layla Miller! In multiple, man. The Madrox, the guy with the M on his face now, he's from a future, from the Bishop future. Brought him in, and he marries Layla Miller, who was lost in the future. And they both come back to the present. Now with Layla Miller, she says, I don't know things anymore. And I'm like, worth it. Perfect. Because that was always the fuck is, what's Layla Miller's power? We never knew Layla Miller's power ever. It never got explained to us. But hey, there we go. Hey, there's something over here that's gonna be spoken about. It's a baby breastfeeding on Layla Miller. I feel like he's looking for the nipple underneath the shirt. Over the shirt. And it's like, what the fuck? It's maybe the artist drew her boobs out normally, and then, you know, an editor maybe covered it up. Strange to me. It's gonna be a topic of discussion on other channels because, you know, that's actually like a hot topic. Should women be breastfeeding in public? She's not in public, she's in her own home, so it's different. But that's always the thing, and I always thought, like, you know, just don't look, right? It's not like it's optimal for this woman to be breastfeeding her baby, but it's either starve the baby or it's not even an option. You're gonna breastfeed, but just don't look. That's what Chillmonger has to say about breastfeeding in public. What Chillmonger has to say about the book. Right, so the next page they go down to Midtown Sewers and we see Callisto and his interaction with her. Before that, he's just slaughtering the ONE, the Office of National Emergency people. Just faceless guys with masks on. Wolverine acting like Wolverine. Not no animated series Wolverine where he just says he's gonna do it, but don't act. He does it. He just straight up stabs. You didn't believe me? He stabs him right there. Callisto gives him a talk and just says that you guys almost ripped the world in half. He's like, I'm not even an X-Men no more. They were afraid of X-Men. They were afraid of Magneto. They were afraid of Xavier. They were afraid of Summers. They were afraid of you. I like this, man. The Mutants book, the book always says hated and feared. They don't even fear anymore. Or they don't even, not now, they just hate them. Like, they literally hate them. No fear. Because they're all gone. They feel like, oh, there's only one mutant left. Beat him up. That's what they did to Blindfold earlier in the book. That's what they did to Scott Summers in that mutant rally. Continuing downtown in the sewers, he sees Gabe Gahuyulo. Matthew Rosenberg is a fucking X-Men fan. He gets Velociodad, one of Generation Hope's 5 lights. He makes time move faster around him. So unfortunately, every time he uses his powers, he gets older. So they got him as a teenager by the end of that book, which ended after Schism. At Schism it ended, and by the time that book happened, dude was already in his 20s, and now he's really old. This guy's got gray hair, gray beard, and everything. He had a tough week, he says. We'll learn more about that. Next, Wolverine goes to Blindfold's house, kind of like where Cyclops went, but he goes after the Cyclops. And look how old she looks over there. You know she has grown old. Makes me wonder if the Academy X students have gotten older. And they have, man. She's not a teenager anymore. She says something important, that she's beginning to separate, she can't begin to separate the present from her memories, from the visions. Like, it's all being jumbled up. She's dying, y'all. She is dying, and that's how a psychic or a precognate, I've never actually said the word out loud, It's written here all the time, but someone who can see the future, she's dying. And then she like leans over, it makes me think she's pregnant. We'll read into. She had a relationship with Legion. She was with him during the X-Men Legacy book. After it was good, when it was bad, it was called X-Men Legacy, and it was Legion and her. I didn't read the whole thing. I kind of was on the app and I skipped through. So hey, I skimmed through so you didn't have to. Thumbs up for Chillmonger. We go to Logan's appearance here at the X-Men rally, at the Anti-Mutant rally. And Captain America wasn't the only one there. There was also Dick Grayson, Jason Todd, Tim Drake, Damian Wayne, Bucky Barnes, the Winter Soldier, and Scarlet Witch. Oh, I always do that. Scarlett Johansson plays the Black Widow. Black Widow was there. You always do that too. Thumbs up for relatability. Bucky asks, what are you doing here? Logan says, was just about to say the same thing about all the Avengers who showed up to protect the hate rally, Buck. At least they called him Buck, nicknamed it up to let us know that they're still cordial. And we see what was going on when Logan was accepting Scott Summers' invitation to where it all started in Salem Center. Just from a different perspective, which is kind of cool. He ain't alone, that's what he said. The final story, the last blindfold story. She's dying, y'all. Loa is also dead. Remember Loa? No, you don't. I can't even remember Loa. Is she the trans with the things on her face? Is she Alani Smith? I don't know. Matthew Rosenberg knows though, because he gets paid to write these books. It really feels like they are killing off the Academy X students because a new class will come in and they know, well, we gotta eliminate some of the useless, even that Generation Hope mutant. They're eliminating them. We see her have that conversation with Velocio dad, Gabe, before he turns really old. So whatever the hell happened, he had to do it during this event. Blindfold asks for a little bit of money. Gets the money. When they find out she's a mutant, we see her eyes, which is freaky. They stomp her out and beat her up. Sucks to be a mutant. But with that money, she goes ahead and buys a lottery ticket. You ever had that conversation when you were a kid about, if I had the ability to see the future, I would win the lot? We go ahead and do this. Matthew Rosenberg is one of us, man. He's writing this comic book. And she wins. That's the way she gets her house. She won the lottery. Jamie Madrox shows up to her crib, and you surprised to see me? She goes, well, first of all, my powers, I'm not surprised, and I can't see. Very funny. Now, I was very lighthearted during this book, even though some serious, eventful stuff happened. Man, this book was fantastic. The biggest note from her story is when she says, I am running out of the future over there. Blindfold's about to die, but whatever her last, vision she sees is gonna be a pretty epic one, kind of like the Necro-Osha storyline from 2009. I remember. Chillmonger remembers his X-Men stuff. Nothing really eventful to finish off with. I think that bathtub scene is where she dies, where it says "This is forever," because that's where this book finishes off with, just her in that bathtub. So yo, Blindfold is dead. And Tara Wadun. I'm gonna give this comic book a fucking 30 out of 30. You better go ahead and pick up this book. I am a better person for having read this. This inspired me and made me a greater comic book YouTuber. I have never experienced something that's not true. I'm thinking of how to close this video and I want to get everything out. I'm truly interested in what happens to the X-Men after this event. It really feels like a restart. I know that Age of X-Men stuff is happening and they just had a book which I'm not picking up because it's not part of the 616 universe. It's uncanon and it will never be referred to again, and new writers are writing it, and it's not like Claremont's Age of Apocalypse because Claremont wrote that and it plays a part into his story, and this will not be respected because the Matthew Rosenberg, he didn't write that shit, so he's probably just going to excuse it and it's just a money grab. I know that's all of that, but this kind of Uncanny X-Men storyline, I want to see who Scott can recruit. I want to see who Logan can recruit. What Logan told Scott was, let's go, we've got work to do. Logan was giving the orders after they beat up those Reavers, and I hope Donald Pierce is dead. I hope a lot of people die. I'm just a fan of killing, but you know how X-Men are, you know how comic books are. If someone's dead, they're not really dead. I want to say that this book is like a restart, I already said that, of just where the X-Men are going to be, and I feel like this is movie related. This is probably how they're going to show up in the movies, where they're just hiding all this time, and if you are a fan of the movie, 2 years from now maybe, the X-Men will be out in the open and say, hey, we're here. I don't know where they're going to live. Probably shouldn't be Westchester. But you know, Matthew Rosenberg's a fan, so he's going to bring him back there. They should have never went to New York City. That was dumb. Who do I blame for that? Mark Guggenheim? Guggenheim, I blame you for that, even though I like you as a writer. Yeah, now I'm closing out the video. This is Chillmonger, your favorite YouTuber's favorite YouTuber. Go see this video. If you made it to the end of my video, you probably like me. Thumbs up the video, of course. That's like the third time I'm asking. This video right here that just appeared, this is the one you go and see, right there. I'm not even recommending another one. I'm not even gonna say subscribe.